Welcome to the Louie File. I wanted to talk about something that I have discovered is quite common among people in general. You know, lots and lots of people have over the years said to me, Louie, I just don't understand the Bible. I want to, but I just have a hard time. I struggle with it. I attempt, you know, they try to read it and they can't. They have comprehension problems. They're using a King James Bible. Not that there's anything wrong with that, but they're using a Bible that's using, you know, English from the 1600s, thee and thou and wherefore and you know, just a lot of words that we don't use, so they struggle. On the one hand, I want to tell them, well, you should use this type of Bible, but on the other hand, I'm thinking, no, I'm just very careful about how far I want to push the instruction, because I think that each person needs to be led where they need to go by the Spirit of God. But it reminds me of my own experience. Just prior to being born again, I was trying to read the Bible. I knew the answers were in there. I had this book, you know, Holy Bible, and I knew instinctively, somehow, that the answers were in that book. But I didn't really know how to flush them out. So as I attempted to read, I had the same problem. I couldn't really get a grip on what was being said. So I decided to go to church. I thought, well, I'll go to church. That's where they teach the Bible. So that's what I did. And over a short period of time, I eventually found myself at an altar, and I was born again, filled with the Spirit of God. And then I started reading the Bible, and all of a sudden it started making sense to me. And I looked in 1 Corinthians chapter 2. It says the natural man cannot know the things of God because they're spiritually discerned. There you have it. Without the Spirit of God, you can't know the things of God. It takes Him to interpret and explain to us what He's saying. You know, and then I discovered in the letter to James, it says, if any of you lack wisdom, just ask God and He will give it. And I thought, well, that's what I'm talking about. I lack wisdom. Help me to understand. So every morning before work, I would ask God. I would say to Him, I would say, God, you told me through your word that if I lacked wisdom, to ask you and you would give it. And that's what I'm doing. I'm asking you for wisdom. So every morning I would pray and I would ask God for wisdom. And every evening when I come home from work, I would read the Bible. And I would have, at that time, I was reading two different translations. I would have a King James and a Living Bible. I would read a chapter out of the King James, then I would read a chapter out of the Living Bible. And I was like, wait a minute, and I'd go back. So I would, a lot of times I would end up reading the same chapter 3 times, trying to get a hold of what it was saying. Every morning I would ask God for wisdom. Every night I would read the Bible, and I would seek for that wisdom. You know, the Bible says it's the glory of God to conceal a matter, and it's the glory of kings to search it out. And so I was searching it out. So, you know, some people say, well, you know, God's going to zap me with wisdom. And then other people say, you need to dig into the Bible. Well, I say you got to do both. I say if you're hunting for something, you need to keep hunting until you find it, right? You know, the Bible says, if you seek for me, talking about wisdom, as for gold and silver, you'll find her. You can't give up. So, there you go. The only way to know how to understand the Bible is if the Spirit of God Himself teaches us. So the first step in understanding the Bible and what God is saying to you is receive from Him His very own Spirit. And then when you do that, from then on you ask Him to lead you and direct you, and He will be more than glad to do that. And it may or may not look like anybody else you know. So don't get discouraged thinking, well, my life doesn't look like this one's, or my way of understanding is not the same as that one's. Just be prepared to do what God tells you to do, and just be open to what He tells you. That's all you got to do. He's not trying to get you to be like somebody else. He's trying to get you to be like you. And He's gonna make that happen as we open ourselves to Him and allow Him more and more space to operate in our minds and in our life. So just seek after Him. Jesus said, seek, ask, seek, and find. Ask, seek, and find. Ask, seek, and knock. That's what He said. Right? So there you have it. That's it. All we have to do is ask, seek, and knock. So I pray that's what you do from now on. Just seek Him. And I'll talk to you next time. See ya.